Hey guys, so in the wake of two mass shootings in our country in the past couple of days, I wanted to speak to something that's going to be a hot topic because of it, and that's mental health. So we typically will have these discussions back and forth between, is this a gun control issue or is this more about mental health? And I can tell you from my perspective, I believe it is very much a mental health issue, okay? So I work with people every day who are hurting deeply, and a lot of these people are feeling unheard. They feel rejected. They don't feel a part of something. They're feeling hopeless, and for whatever reason, they don't feel like their voice is being heard. And the hurt is so deep that sometimes it drives them to commit acts like have happened over the past couple of days. Really extreme, heinous crimes that hurt a lot of people. Now, at the end of the day, I really believe that this is just their form of communication. It's their way of expressing that, hey, I want to be heard. Listen up. Look, people, recognize me, acknowledge me. They want validation, and they haven't been getting that in other areas of their life. And so they have to go to these extremes to achieve that. And of course, it's terrible and disruptive to the lives of many other people. And so, what does this mean for us? One thing I can say is that I would say the majority of society is hurting. And we have this saying in psychology is that hurt people hurt other people, okay? Anytime anyone really is offensive or critical or really digs at you, it's a good chance that person themselves is really struggling and hurting within themselves. And so in these situations, there are so many people out there who are struggling their way through life. They're miserable and they're hiding it a lot of times. You might think that a lot of people around you are doing just fine. I would really share with you that a lot of people are struggling and they are just not wanting to be vulnerable and open up, or they're afraid to ask for help. Okay, a lot of people are just trying to hold everything inside, trying to mask their problems, trying to bottle up emotions, and then it just gets to a point where it's just so wrenching and excruciating that we tend to hurt other people. And a lot of times that's just through lies and deceit and our words and some minor actions. And sometimes it gets to the extreme, like we've experienced the past couple of days, and it involves, the fatality of other people. And so, how as a society can we curb this, and what can we do? And at the end of the day, we're all responsible for our own health, but we do have to team up. We have to, united we are so much stronger, okay? And I think every one of you out there could relate when I say, I guarantee you there's been a time in your life when you were struggling and you were hurting so badly, it was just too much to deal with on your own, okay? And maybe you prayed about it, or you took it to God, or you dealt with it on a spiritual level, and that was helpful. But I would venture to say you really needed the support of other people, and it was your support system and those encouraging people in your life that really helped you get through that situation. But unfortunately, I know there are a lot of people who reach a point where they don't have those positive relationships, and for whatever reason, maybe it be a fault of their own, they don't trust people anymore. Time and time again, and I deal with this every day, and clients who are struggling, the people don't trust other people anymore. The trust has been sabotaged through broken relationships, or people have been cheated on and hurt and rejected and let down, and we don't trust each other anymore. And should we trust easily? No. But we're at a point where people are living in a world where they don't think they can trust anyone, so they don't share anything. They withhold all their feelings, and they just try to handle it themselves, and then it just becomes too much, and it's too overwhelming. And then it leads to something like this. And then what happens? We all pay attention. They get our attention, but it's not on a good term. And so, like I said, so what can we do? And I think the main thing is just we need to be more insightful and more aware of what's going on around us, and really try to take notice of people that we think might be hurting. And even if you think someone's doing well, still ask them. Still just kind of ask you, hey, you're really busy, or you've been acting different, or you don't share a lot with me. Are you doing okay? Be politely inquisitive, and sometimes just listen. I struggle with this. I love to talk, and if you guys know me, it's hard for me. I get excited about things and I do a lot of talking, but it's so important that we take a moment just to listen to others, okay? Even if we don't agree with them, just a listening ear can help someone feel validated and feel that their opinion matters, okay? And that adds so much value to their life. And so hopefully through that, a person would feel more accepted. I think that's a big thing, is that people are living a life where they they don't feel like they fit in anywhere, okay? And they're wandering through life, miserable, disconnected, and struggling to find value and meaning in life. And they're trying to find it through groups, and these groups have rejected them, and it's very unfortunate. So we are always in such a hurry to get from A to B, from home to work, and working back to our small social groups, that close group of people that we really love, that a lot of times I think we neglect the common Joe that we might run into every day, or that's in traffic with us, or perhaps that person that, cuts us off because they're in a hurry. And we've got to be empathetic. Empathy is such a hard trait to have, and it's especially difficult to possess in these times and situations. But honestly, that person needed empathy a long time ago, and now he is at a point where probably no one's going to give it to him, which is really unfortunate. Everyone listen now. In some situations, these people take their own lives and go to those extremes, and others not. But what this is showing is honestly that these people are so desperate to be heard that they're willing to go to these extremes and pay the sacrifice or whatever penalty comes with it, be it they take their own life or they spend the rest of life in prison. So that's a really huge price to pay just to have your voice heard and to feel like people are acknowledging you. So let's, as a society, just try to be a little bit more acknowledging, listen, validate, encourage. Small, simple acts as a group, we can make a difference. There's only so much I can do as a mental health professional. I can only see so many clients in a day, in a week, in a lifetime. And so the difference I can make is limited. But I'll tell you this, you don't need the credentials I have or any background or professional license in counseling or therapy or anything. You don't even need the theories. Just be willing to listen. You can make a difference without all these skill sets and without the credentials to back it up. Just listen, encourage, and validate. And so, like I said, we've got to take a role of responsibility. As much as we want to blame these people, we all know that we've been hurting. And will we stoop to those extremes? Probably not. But we've definitely hurt other people. And it just so happens that, it gets the most publicity when it comes to people taking other people's lives. But this will be a hot topic for a while, and unfortunately, it's going to happen again. I think we all know that. It's inevitable. It's a part of where we're at in society, a deep hurting society that's struggling to feel accepted and find their role and really just find passion and purpose in life. And we don't often know how to communicate. And for some people, this is just it. This is their form of communication, or they've tried to communicate. They've used so many other forms, they've exhausted those resources because for whatever reason, no one listened before. And they knew if they committed these crimes, hey, at least people would pay attention. They would listen up, and they're all eyes and ears, and we are. And they have our emotions. They convict us, and people get really upset about these situations. I've had people say to me, our country is really messed up, and it's so wrong, and it really bothers me. And that's true. As a society, it's not really our country. It's just we as a people, we've become selfish. We're impatient. We're so focused on ourselves. We're very narcissistic as a species, and so we're so driven to really just think about ourselves. A lot of times we miss what other people need from us, even if it's a simple, just a few moments. So be willing to give that. Let's make a difference where we can as citizens, not just as mental health professionals. We have a big challenge ahead of us as well, and we'll try to rise to that challenge, but you guys can make a difference too. So not just this week. Don't let this just motivate you for a couple days, guys. We have to stick with it and work together to help people feel accepted, validated, encouraged, listened to. And even if you don't agree with an opinion, you have to respect that person. Just giving somebody the time of day can make a huge difference for them.